Welcome to Quiz Time. I am your quiz master, Sean, and I've got 100 questions for you for baby boomers. So let's see what we remember, boomers, and have a little fun while we're doing it. Let's begin with question number 1, of course. Which song would television networks play at the end of the day? Did they play the Armed Forces medley, the Star-Spangled Banner, or America the Beautiful? At the end of the day, always played the Star-Spangled Banner. What was listened to before cassette tapes, 8-tracks, and CD players? The transistor radio, the transmission radio, or the tubeless radio? They played transistor radios. Who was the infamous Mr. Ed? Was that a talking horse, a disc jockey, or an invisible rabbit? Mr. Ed was a talking horse, of course. Which was considered a childhood favorite street game? Jump rope, kick the can, or pick up sticks? Childhood street game. Kick the can. Where could budding biologists order sea monkeys from? The local zoo, the pet store, or ads in comic books? Ads in comic books. I got one. It didn't work. What were the bicycles with tall, U-shaped handlebars and banana seats called? Bananas, double riders, or stingrays? Those were stingrays. Which of the below 1969 music festivals was held in the Catskill Mountains? Was it Monterey Pop, Woodstock, or Isle of Wight? That was Woodstock. Which below game used bottle caps and was played on a square course drawn with chalk? Scully, Flick, or Hopscotch? That was Scully. Snap-together toy planes with a metal clip on the nose were made of which material? Plastic, balsa wood, or styrofoam? They were made of balsa wood. Which singer sang, "These boots are made for walking"? These boots are made for walking. And Nancy Sinatra says, "They're gonna walk all over you." What popular female clothing item was introduced by Ellen Gant in 1959? And that was pantyhose. Which actor played the first James Bond? Was that Roger Moore, Sean Connery, or George Lazenby? The first James Bond was Sean Connery. Which verb from the 1960s means to take an unfair share of something? Bogart, Hitchcock, or Hepburn? That is so totally Bogart. Which war were the boomers born just after? World War I, World War II, or the Iraq War? The boomers come just after World War II. Which of the below listed presidents was a baby boomer? Andrew Jackson, Bill Clinton, or Ronald Reagan? Bill Clinton was a boomer. Which television show was Dick Clark the host of? Top of the Charts, Dance Dance USA, or American Bandstand? Dick Clark was the host of American Bandstand. Diane Carroll was the protagonist of which sitcom? Julia, All That Glitters, or Alice? Diane Carroll was the protagonist of Julia. Which Apollo mission was the first to land a man on the moon? Apollo 7, Apollo 11, or Apollo 13? The first to land a man on the moon was Apollo 11. Which event triggered the U.S. entry into World War II? The death of William McKinley, the art of war, or the attack on Pearl Harbor? It was the attack on Pearl Harbor. Which major conference shaped post-World War II Europe? The Potsdam Conference, the Yalta Conference, or the United Nations Conference? And that was the Yalta Conference. Which of the below Alfred Hitchcock films was released in 1940? Rebecca, Rich and Strange, or Marnie? And that movie was Rebecca. What was the first Bugs Bunny cartoon? Falling Hair, a Wild Hair, or a Missing Hair? And that was a Wild Hair. Who was the second person to walk on the moon? Alan Bean, Buzz Aldrin, or David Scott? Number 2 on the moon was Buzz Aldrin. D-Day fell on which of the below dates? June 7th, 1944, June 11th, 1944, or June 6th, 1944? D-Day is on June 6th, 1944. Which of the below vehicle manufacturers produced the Jeep? The Willys Overhaul, the Land Rover, or American Motors? The Jeep was produced by Willys Overland. True or false? Cotton was rationed during World War II. That's false. Silk, however, was rationed. Where did Typhoon Vera hit in 1959? Russia, Japan, or Canada? Typhoon Vera hit Japan. In which U.S. city was John F. Kennedy assassinated? Dallas, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, or Los Angeles, California? JFK was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Which actor starred in It's a Wonderful Life and won the Best Actor Oscar in 1940? Henry Fonda, William Gargan, or James Stewart? That was Jimmy Stewart. Which type of data storage was invented by Fritz Flumer? The hard drive, the magnetic tape, or the floppy disk? And he invented the magnetic tape. Which type of hat was popular among men in the 1940s? The fedora, the beret, or the bowler hat? In the 1940s, a popular hat was the fedora. Which famous jam band is considered one of the founders of acid rock? The Byrds, the Kinks, or the Grateful Dead? And that was the Grateful Dead. Which actor played Sam Spade in The Maltese Falcon? Clark Gable, Humphrey Bogart, or Cary Grant? And that was played by Humphrey Bogart. Which device did Percy Spencer invent in 1945? The 23, the Polaroid camera, or the microwave oven? He invented the microwave oven. Which below team won the 1940 World Series? The Detroit Tigers, the Cincinnati Reds, or the Cleveland Indians? That was the Cincinnati Reds. What toy did Frenchman Arthur Grandjean develop? Etch-a-Sketch, the Frisbee, or the Easy Bake Oven? He developed the Etch-a-Sketch. What was Gomez's wife's name in The Addams Family? Was her name Marcella? Was it Marceline? Or was it Morticia? Her name was Morticia. What was the purpose of the infamous Manhattan Project? To develop a nuclear weapon? To plan an invasion? Or some sort of exploitation? They were developing a nuclear weapon, the A-bomb. What was invented by Canadian scientist Wilbur Franks? The double-breasted serge tunic, the G-suit, or syringes? The G-suit. Which team won the first NBA championship? The Boston Celtics, the Chicago Stags, or the Philadelphia Warriors? It was the Philadelphia Warriors. Which board game is sold in Brazil as Detective? Is it Clue? Is it Why? Or is it Simon? And that game is Clue. Who completes the trio of Mary and Mungo? Molly, Midge, or Maurice? The trio is completed with Midge. Which of the below succeeded King George VI as monarch of Great Britain in 1952? Richard II, Elizabeth II, or Henry I? And of course, that's Elizabeth II. Which band released their live album, Kick of the Jams, in 1969? Was that the Dead Boys? Was it the Stooges? Or was it MC5? That was MC5. When Angelo Roncalli became Pope, what name did he take? Pope Benedict, Pope John, or Pope Paul? He took the name Pope John. Which board game includes a character named Miss Scarlet? Clue, Monopoly, or buccaneer? And that game would be Clue. Where was Queen Elizabeth II at the time of her father's death? Was she in Austria? Was she in Scotland? Or was she in Kenya? She was traveling in Kenya. Which band released the A White Shade of Pale album? Was that Traffic? Was it Procol Harum? Or was it Renaissance? And that was Procol Harum. Which conflict began on June 25th, 1950? Did that start the Cold War? Was that the Korean War? Or was it the Algerian War? That was the beginning of the Korean War. Who was the first to record the song, The Last Thing on My Mind? Was that Tom Paxton, Judy Collins, or Leonard Cohen? That was Tom Paxton. Who retired from acting in 1956? Was it John Wayne, Henry Fonda, or Grace Kelly? Retiring from acting in 1956 was Grace Kelly. Which 60s musical featured the song Good Morning Sunshine? Was that Hair? Was that Gigi? Or was it Brigadoon? And that was Hair. Which TV host showed a clip of the Beatles singing She Loves You in 1964? Was that Mike Douglas, Jack Parr, or Dick Cavett? And that was Jack Parr. Which of Ernest Hemingway's novels appeared in 1952? The Old Man and the Sea, The Sun Also Rises, or A Farewell to Arms? And that was The Old Man and the Sea. Which character did Ava Gardner star in as the film Showboat? Ellie, Magnolia, or Julie? Star as in the film Showboat. She played Julia. What was the size of the first set of floppy disks? Were they 6 inches, 5.25 inches, or 8 inches? The first set of floppy disks were 8 inches wide and long. How many crew members were carried in each Apollo command module? 3, 5, or 9? The command module could hold 3 crew members. Who released the Beatles' first album in the U.S.? Northern Songs Records, VJ Records, or Song Records? VJ Records released the first Beatles album in the U.S. Who had the hit Your Cheatin' Heart? Was that Hank Williams, Dean Martin, or Pat Boone? Your Cheatin' Heart. That's Hank Williams. In which of the below cities did the Brinks robbery take place? Houston, Boston, or Charleston? The city was Boston. What was the name of the largest nuclear weapon which was set off in 1961? Honest John, Matador Cruz, or Tsar Bomba? And that was Sarbamba. Which below president resigned as a result of the Watergate scandal? Was it Jimmy Carter? Was it Richard Nixon? Or was it Gerald Ford? It was Richard Nixon. Who became the first president of Northern Rhodesia, or Zambia? Frederick Chiluba, Hakainde Hichilema, or Kenneth Kaunda? And that was Kenneth Kaunda. Which of the below is the world's longest running play? The Mousetrap, Cats, or Pygmalion? The world's longest running play is The Mousetrap. Which TV crime drama was headed by Elliot Ness? 77 Sunset Strip, Ironside, or The Untouchables? That was The Untouchables. Lurch is a TV character in which of the below? Star Trek, The Addams Family, or The Munsters? Lurch was in The Addams Family. Which actor played the role of Hawkeye Pierce in the series MASH? In the television series, it was Alan Alda. Where did Arthur Miller's After the Fall play premiere? In Sydney, in Newmarket, or New York City? It premiered in New York City. Who sang the classic country song Ring of Fire? Johnny Cash, Huey Lewis, or Glenn Campbell? Johnny Cash fell into a ring of fire. He went down, down, down. What was Veterans Day previously known as before 1955? Solstice Day, Armistice Day, or Memorial Day? Veterans Day used to be called Armistice Day. Who from the below discovered the Terracotta Army? Local bakers, local fishermen, or local farmers? The Terracotta Army was discovered by local farmers. Who from the below named the Baby Boomers? Leslie Nason, John Hart, or Lynn Povich? Baby Boomers. That was coined by Leslie Nason. Which part of Ranger 6 failed? The engine, the steering, or the cameras? And it was the cameras that failed. Which of the below was the name of the ranch in the series Bonanza? Was it the Ponderosa? Was it the Blue Sky? Or was it the Hughes Ranch? That was the Ponderosa. Which below U.S. island served as a registration point for immigrants until 1954? Was it Kauai, Ellis Island, or Block Island? It was Ellis Island. Which two countries jointly developed the Concorde? France and the United Kingdom, Denmark and Russia, or the United States and Finland? The Concorde was developed by France and the United Kingdom. Which French president prevented Great Britain's entry into the common market? Valéry D'Estaing, Alan Poher, or Charles de Gaulle? That was Charles de Gaulle. What is the title of the book of short stories, poems, and drawings by John Lennon? All We Are Saying, In His Own Right, or Imagine Street? And that was In His Own Right. In which film does the song Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend first feature? Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, An American in Paris, or Carmen Jones? That is Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. In which year was the IBM's 701 computer launched? 1956, 1951, or 1953? The 701 was launched in 1953. Which below character from Sesame Street lives in a garbage can? Bert, Big Bird, or Oscar the Grouch? Oscar the Grouch lives in a garbage can. Which Dominican dictator was assassinated in 1961? Anastasio Garcia, Rafael Trujillo, or Jean-Claude Duvalier? And that was Rafael Trujillo. What is the Epstein-Barr virus? That's a tumor virus, a digestive virus, or a skin virus? That is a tumor virus. What crime were the Rosenbergs executed for? Murder, espionage, or arson? The Rosenbergs were executed for espionage. Little Richard left the music industry to become a what? A nudist, a preacher, or an author? Little Richard left the music industry to become a preacher. True or false? Tesla was the first group to sing about Little Susie. Is that true or is that false? That's false. Little Susie was originally sung by the group PhD. Which of the below was Bruce Lee's last film? Enter the Dragon, Game of Death, or The Big Boss? Bruce Lee's last film was Enter the Dragon. Which horse won the United States Triple Crown in 1948? Count Fleet, Bold Venture, or Citation? And that was Citation. Which actor starred as Roger Thornhill in North by Northwest? James Mason, Cary Grant, or Adam Williams? And that was Cary Grant. Which of the below was the nickname for the well-known Berlin crossing point? Checkpoint Charlie, Checkpoint Romeo, or Checkpoint Mike? And that was Checkpoint Charlie. Which TV character did Adam West play in the 1960s? Was he Spider-Man? Was he Batman? Or was he Superman? Adam West was Batman. Which company invented the first ever steel-belted radial tires? Firestone, Goodyear, or Michelin? Those were by Michelin. In which year was NASA founded? 1958, 1961, or 1949? NASA was founded in 1958. In the movie Rocky, where does Adrian work? Does she work in a coffee shop, a pet store, or does she work in a bank? Adrian works in a pet shop. In which fictional place is the movie Jaws set? Amity Island, Broker Island, or Living Island? Jaws is set on Amity Island. Which film won the Academy Award for Best Motion Picture in 1947? Miracle on 34th Street, 12 O'Clock High, or Gentleman's Agreement? And that would be Gentleman's Agreement. Which below author wrote the novel Carrie? Was that written by Stephen King, John Grisham, or James Patterson? Carrie was written by Stephen King. And now question 100. Robert Menzies was the Prime Minister for which below country during the 1950s? Was he the PM of Norway, Australia, or Poland? Robert Menzies was the Prime Minister of Australia. Thank you for playing Quiz Time. Drop your score in the comments, please, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, because you don't want to miss any more quiz times, do ya? Thanks for playing. We'll see you on the next one.